Hey traders, it's John Fortune here with this week's weekly Forex forecast for the 16th of July to the 20th of July 2018. As always, starting with the US dollar index and oil, we're going to run through a number of markets looking at the key levels of support and resistance in the process. We're also going to be highlighting some of the targets that we're going to be looking for in the coming week and also in the weeks ahead. So let's jump over to the charts and see where the money is this week. As always, starting with the US dollar index. Now, we go into this week with the US dollar index in a range between the levels of 94.22 and the 95.47. So very simply put, we're looking for further advances in the dollar index. If we can get a pullback and preferably a retest of the bottom of the range here at the 94.22, this is going to be a place once again we can start to look for bullish formations and patterns. And we're going to be looking at further advances up towards the top of the range at the 95.47, and if we can get a break through the top of this range in this key area of resistance to the upside, we're going to be looking up towards target 2 at the 96.32. Next we have crude oil. Now last week crude oil actually failed to stay above the key area of broken resistance, turning support multiple times at 72.87, and we had this big sell-off as this key area of support failed to hold. So very simply put, we're looking for further declines going into this week in crude oil. If we can get a pullback and a retest, preferably of broken support turning resistance at the 72.87, this is going to be a great place to start to look for shorts in crude oil. And we're going to be looking at initiating shorts down towards the next key area of support to the downside in the target set at the 67.15. So the first pair we're going to look at is euro dollar. Now last week we actually started the week above broken resistance and twice it bounced as a support level, the 1.17150. But as we saw the US dollar index breaking back inside that range, we actually ended up failing to hold above this key area of broken resistance turning support. So very simply put, going into this, we start the week below the 1.17150. If we get a pullback and a retest of broken now support turning resistance, this is going to be a great place to start to look for bearish formations and patterns. And we're going to be looking at initiating shorts down towards the next key area of support to the downside in the target set with the 1.14931. And if we can get a breakthrough here, down towards the second key area of support to the downside in target 2 at the 1.14422. And for those of you who know your chart patterns, it looks like we're getting a big bear flag here, which of course is a continuation pattern to the downside. Next we have pound dollar. Now last week we were looking for a bounce at the key area of resistance at the 1.3295, and you can see we did actually sell off last week from this key area of resistance, and we started to make our way down towards the target set from last week at the 1.3041. Now very simply put, for anybody not involved in this pair already, or for anybody looking for a second position, there may be another opportunity if we get this kind of price action, we get another retest of key resistance at the 1.3295. This will once again provide a good opportunity to look for bearish formations and patterns, and we're going to be looking down towards the target set from last week at the 1.3041. And if we get a breakthrough here, we're looking down towards the next target, which is quite close, at the 1.2998. Next we have the US dollar Japanese yen. Now last week we were sitting right at the 110.250 area, and we were looking for potential long positions from this area, and as you can see we had a really nice rally to the upside last week in the US dollar Japanese yen. For anybody who was in this, we took out both targets to the upside at the 111.427 and the 112.152 from last week. So very simply put, going into this week, we're looking for further advances in the US dollar Japanese yen. If we can get a pullback into this area, preferably if we can get a retest of broken resistance turning support at the 111.364. This is going to provide a great place to once again start to look for bullish formations and patterns. And we're going to be looking up towards the next key area of resistance to the upside and the target set at the 113.255. And if we can get a breakthrough here, although this may take a couple of weeks, we're looking up towards the next key area of resistance to the upside and target 2 at the 114.472. Next we have the Aussie dollar. Now last week we started the week above the 0.74089 in this area, and we were looking for further advances to the upside to the 0.74688, and you can see we did have a move right into the target set to the upside from last week, and we actually bounced from this point in the Aussie dollar before breaking back down below the 0.74089 as well. Now, going into this week, we actually start the week above the 0.74089. So technically speaking, based around the process outlined here, we should be looking for further advances up towards the 0.74688. But with the strength in the dollar, it may be more prudent to consider this currently as a deeper test of the 0.74089 rather than a break above it. Okay, more of a deeper test of this area, because we also have, in combination with the stronger dollar, we actually have what looks like a bear flag forming on the Aussie dollar. So based on what I'm seeing here, I would rather consider this as a bounce at broken support turning resistance at the 0.74089. So this is going to be, going into next week, a great place to start to look for bearish formations and patterns, looking for further declines to the downside and the target set at the next key area of support at the 0.73111. My bias on this will only change if we get continued moves to the upside in the Aussie dollar, perhaps let's say up to the 0.7440 here, okay, and then we come back to retest like this. Then I will be looking back into this area, but for the time being, I'm considering this a deeper test of broken support turning resistance at the 0.74089. Next, we have the New Zealand dollar. Now, last week we started the week testing broken support looking to turn resistance at the 0.6850, and we said that this is a great place to start to look for shorts in the New Zealand dollar. And you can see we did get that decline from this area last week, and we are now approaching the target set from last week in the New Zealand dollar at 0.67110. So in order for anybody to look for a re-entry perhaps in this, we would need to see a pullback in this area, possibly even a retest of the 0.68500 to look for this move down towards the target once again. Otherwise, we just want to simply wait for this to close out from last week down in this area. And if we can get a break through here, and we can get a retest of broken support turning resistance at 0.67110, this is going to be a great place to start to look for bearish formations and patterns once again in the New Zealand dollar, down towards the next key area of support to the downside in the target set at the 0.65900. Next, we have US dollar franc. Now, last week we actually broke out of this corrective structure, which has been going on for a while now, and we took out the target set to the upside at the 1.00380. So very simply put, we're looking for further advances as the higher probability move this week in the US dollar Swiss franc. If we can get a pullback and a retest of broken resistance, turning support at the 0.99627. This is going to be a great place to start to look for bullish formations and patterns. And we're going to be looking at initiating longs up towards the next key area of resistance and the target set from last week at the 1.00988. And if we can get a breakthrough here, we're going to be looking up towards the next key area of resistance to the upside and target 2 at the 1.01667. Next, we have US dollar CAD. Now, last week, the US dollar CAD pretty much crisscrossed the 1.31247. And the reason for this was because of the interest rate decision on Wednesday. Very often you see the markets a little bit choppy before these decisions. And you can see this big wick to the downside. This was from the interest rate decision. We actually finished higher up after the Canadian interest rate decision. And we start the week above broken resistance looking to turn support at the 1.31247. So very simply put, if we get a pullback and a retest of broken resistance turning support at the 1.31247, this is going to be a great place to start to look for bullish formations and patterns. And we're going to be looking at initiating longs up towards the next key area of resistance to the upside and target 1 at the 1.32580. And very possibly next week as well, if we can get a breakthrough here, we're going to be looking up towards the next key area of resistance to the upside and target 2 at the 1.33816. And last but not least, we have gold. Now, last week we started the week up at the key area of broken support, turning resistance to the 1260.91. And we said if we get a retest of this area, this would be a great place to look for shorts. And this was a really nice profitable trade last week. I hope some of you got something out of this. And we came all the way down, took out the target set from last week at the 1237.49. So very simply put, we're looking for further declines in gold. If we get a pullback and a retest of broken support, turning resistance at the 1252.59, This will be a great place to once again start to look for bearish formations and patterns. We're going to be looking at further declines in gold, initiating shorts down towards the next key area of support to the downside and the target set at the 1232.91. And if we get a breakthrough here, or if we come straight down and get a breakthrough like this, this will be another great place to once again start to look for bearish formations and patterns. And we're going to be looking down towards the second key area of support to the downside and the target set at the 1215.41. So that is it from me for this week, guys. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please let me know by liking, sharing and subscribing. A big thank you to all of you who do that on a regular basis, and those of you who have subscribed to the channel so far. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. I hope you all have a really great week next week. The only thing left to say is to take care and don't forget to trade safely.